The Leafs continue to show us how bipolar they are as they welcome in the Tampa Bay Lightning, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. After the Leafs come home from that West Coast road trip where they get 1 point out of a possible 6, and we all hear about that, how the first game back after the trip, even though they had some time off, is usually a really tough one. Well, the Leafs come out of the gate guns a-blazing, and they beat the Lightning 2-1 in regulation. I don't understand it, but I don't care. It's 2 points, and that's what matters because the Florida Panthers won both of their games. So going into the game today, the Leafs were only 1 point up on the Panthers, and you needed a win to kind of give yourself a little bit of breathing room. And they did just that. And the Leafs in the first period flat out dominated the Tampa Bay Lightning. From start to finish of the period, it was all Leafs. And it took a second power play in the first for the Leafs to finally crack the scoreboard. As it was a slap pass from Mitch Marner to John Tavares in the center of the ice. He gets a piece of it, stopped by Vasilevsky, but William Nylander, who has kind of turned into that JVR 2.0, bangs in the loose rebound past Vasilevsky, and the Leafs are in front 1-0, 12:42 into the first period, and it was a power play goal, and the power play going into that game had been awful over the last little while, and the Leafs score first. How many times do we have to say how important it is that this Leaf team, when they score first, it's a recipe for a victory? And you got on the board early. Nylander with his 31st goal of the season. Tavares and Marner with assists. And the Leafs, at one point, were out shooting them like 15-0. It ends up being 16-1 at one point. And the period ends 17-6 Leafs in the shots on goal category, which, as we usually say, is kind of a meaningless stat. But when you dominate that much, that it tells you how dominating you were in that period. And you need to continue that moving forward because you only got a 1-goal lead. Yeah, you dominated the period. Yeah, you had 17 shots and beat them by 11. And the amount of zone time was heavily in favor by the Leafs. The problem was you were only up 1-0. And in that second period, the Lightning dominated the Toronto Maple Leafs. Shots on goal were 15-5 in favor of the Lightning. And Andre Palat scores his 17th goal of the year with under 5 minutes to play in the second period to tie the game at 1. Now, we have seen this happen to this Leaf team quite often in the past, where they have the lead and they give up the lead. But the question now is, how are they going to respond? They go into the third period having played a terrible second, having given up the lead, and you're now it's tied hockey game 1-1. How are they going to do in the third? Well, the Leafs come out in the third period and come out flying. And what that does is it forces the opposition, in this case the Lightning, to take a penalty. And they trip up Austin Matthews at the side. I think it was Cedric Paquette. Trips up Matthews at the side of the net. Leafs go on the power play. And a nice entry into the zone. Tavares takes the hit to make a play down to Mitch Marner. And a cross-seam pass from Marner. One-timer. Austin Matthews back of the net. 47th goal of the year for Matthews. The second power play goal of the game for the Leafs. The only 2 goals they scored today were on the power play. Marner and Tavares had assists in the first goal. And they had both assists on the second goal as well. Marner and Tavares with the assist on the Matthews goal. Now you got the lead back early in the third. It was less than 5 minutes in. Now you got to find a way to weather the storm of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I'd say about till midway through to about the 5-minute mark. In that range, the Leafs dominated. From the start of the period till about the 5-minute mark of that third period, the Leafs played a really good period. But then, as you know in hockey in general, whether it's the Leafs or anybody else, when you're down a goal late in the game, the other team is going to press like crazy. And we saw that the last time we were in Tampa, where the Leafs had the 4-2 lead. They ended up hanging on for dear life to the 4-3 win in Tampa. And then Tampa obviously comes here. You're up 2-1. You got to find a way, and Frederik Andersen. I think Frederik Andersen is starting to catch his stride at the exact right time. You know, I think he played against Vancouver when I was there on the Saturday night, and he played a great game then. Then yes, you know, against Los Angeles, the Leafs lost in the shootout. But Frederik Andersen didn't allow a goal. So he had the shutout going there. And then through the first period and a half here, he was shut out again. And the way he ended this game was stellar. 12 shots on goal did the Tampa Bay Lightning have there in the third period. He stopped all 12, couple of them really tough opportunities, and the Leafs were able to hang on to the 2-1 victory. Great job by Andersen, great job by the D-Corps, and great to see Morgan Rielly back out there yet again. It has been too long since Morgan Rielly has been out there for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it was really nice seeing him back out there. Made an impact in quite a few ways. Nothing huge impact-wise, but again, the small things, if you're really paying attention to the game, you notice him out there. He did a great job tonight, not only defending, but jumping up in the play and making the small plays to either keep the puck in or make an extra pass. He did a really good job tonight, did Morgan Rielly, in his first game back, and you heard after the game, and even before the game, he said he was nervous, and I don't blame him, you know, because whenever you injure yourself, especially in sports, when you injure a leg, an ankle, whatever the case may be, you always got that in the back of your head in the first few games back. I mean, I remember back in the day when I fractured my ankle, and I was out for about 4 or 6 weeks in that range. And I came back from an injury. That first game, you think about it. Do you really want to push it that much? Do you really want to force it? Because you don't want to injure yourself more. Right? And then over time, you get used to it, you feel good, you get back to normal, and then it gets right back into the swing of things. That's why when people say, okay, they're ready to play and they're back from their injury, they're not yet 100% mentally. Right? And for Morgan Rielly, tonight was a big game for him because he didn't really look nervous out there. You know, I thought he looked really good. And I'm not penalty that he got called for. Where he got, I think it was like delay a game or something when he ran into the net. And Morgan Rielly gave the referee an absolute earful, you know, on the bench after it was all said and done. And honestly, I don't blame him. I watched the replay and I'm like, what is he supposed to do? He dives to try and make the play at the guy, and he's sliding into the net. He tries to get up, and he tries to kind of jump on the net to try and get out of the way. I mean, I don't know if he tried to get out of the way, but he didn't want to get a face full of crossbar. So he hops up on the net. He gets a delayed game, and I'm like, what is he supposed to do there? I don't know. But either way, the special teams are what won this game for the Toronto Maple Leafs today. And the special teams has been all over the place this year for this team. Obviously, the power play has been consistently very good. Obviously, lately it hasn't been very good. But overall, through the entire season, the Leafs have dominated the power play. Penalty kill, it's had its moments, but overall hasn't looked the greatest. And you look at tonight, and I understand they don't have Stamkos, but we're all Raptor fans here for the most part, so we don't care. One guy injured, it's basically a healthy squad. Even though it's Steven Stamkos, who cares? I mean, really? Kucherov, Point, Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson, you know, when we go down the list, Victor Hedman, and Vasilevsky in net. Yes, you don't have Steven Stamkos, I get that. But the power play for the Lightning was awful tonight. But you got to give a lot of credit to the Leafs PK, because not only did they do a really good job once Tampa entered the zone, and getting the puck out, they turned a lot of those risky passes the Lightning had in the Leafs defensive zone into offensive chances. I mean, Pierre Engvall had a shorthanded breakaway. There was a couple other instances where the Leafs had offensive breaks on the penalty kill. And they did a really good job forcing mistakes. You were 2 for 5 on the power play, and they were 0 for 4 on their power play. The special teams was a deciding factor in this game, as well as Frederik Andersen being an absolute monster. We could all sit here and talk about his stats, and it is a .908 save percentage and 289 goals against, and that's not as good as his career numbers or his numbers in Toronto over the past, since he's been here. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? All we care about is you get in the damn playoffs, and if he performs better than last year in the last few years, we don't care about regular season digits. And what he did tonight, was remarkable. As we always say for the Raptors, we've said over the last few games, it doesn't matter what your numbers look through the entire game. You make big shots and help your team win. That's what we remember. And yeah, the numbers for Frederik Andersen have not been good this year. But you look at his last 3 or 4 starts, he has been dominant. And this team has needed him to be. Right? Because on that 3-game win streak they had back before the road trip, they won all 3. Freddie was awesome. Then they went out on the road and the offense kind of shriveled up and did absolutely nothing. But they come back today and Freddie is that good. 1 goal on 33. Was it 33? 33 shots for Frederik Andersen. A big game for him. Matthews with a goal. Nylander with a goal. Tavares and Marner both with 2 assists. And that rounds out the points there. Now, our focus now flips. Okay? Yes, great game against Tampa. You got the win. That's great. Now, the focus now turns to Thursday against the Nashville Predators. I will be at that game, actually, assuming they are going to allow fans into the arena. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But as of now, I will be at that game on Thursday night as the Leafs host the Predators. Rene and Anderson are the expected goaltenders there at 7 o'clock. That's a big day for Leaf fans. The reason I say that, not only do the Leafs play and look to push up 5 points on the Florida Panthers, Florida also plays. They're in Dallas. I mean, Dallas is a very good hockey team. If Dallas can find a way to beat Florida in regulation and the Leafs can find a way to do their job and win, they'll kind of put that breathing room back in order. A 5-point lead with Florida only having 1 game in hand. So, for the Leafs, you got to take care of business. As we said before the road trip, the Leafs control their own destiny. And even though they lost all 3 games of the trip and Florida won those 2 games, they still own their own destiny because the Florida Panthers, even if they play the same amount of games, they're still 1 point back of the Leafs. So if the Leafs continue to win, Florida can't make it. Excuse me. And if the Leafs lose, then you got to hope and pray that Florida loses. And I don't want to do that. All right? So the Leafs come out there on Thursday against Nashville and get the job done. That's what you want to see. But it's not going to be a cakewalk. It really isn't. Last time the Leafs played Nashville, they were in Nashville, and the Leafs walked all over them. That was, I think, the first game back after the All-Star break. And this Nashville team, not only are they playing a lot better hockey lately, they've won 3 straight, they're feeling good. They won 1-0 over Dallas on Saturday. I think they beat Montreal tonight in Montreal, so they're playing some really good hockey lately. And they're right in a wild card spot right now, so they're trying to hang on for dear life. Both teams have playoff implications on the line. You got to find a way to do a job on Thursday night. It's going to be a big game for both teams on Thursday. Who's going to want to win it? We're going to have to wait and see. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the game there this evening, smack the like button. Do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the video. Let me know what your guys' thoughts were on this game. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Would you like? Would you not like? Everything, guys. Let me know in the description below. Who is your MVP? Of course, mine is Frederik Andersen. If you have anybody else to say down below, let me know. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, guys. Do all that great stuff. Also, the Patreon link is down below. So if you're interested in signing up for that, the link is down below. And I will talk to you guys Raptors edition not till Saturday. And the Raptors have some time off, but they played a really good job. We're not even going to get into that Utah game yesterday because, beautiful. This is a Leaf video. I've already made a couple Raptor references in the video, so I'm going to leave it at that. But they take on the Detroit Pistons on Saturday night, 7:30 tip-off there at Scotiabank Arena. Raptors looking for their 5th straight victory, looking for win number 47 on the season, and look to continue. I think they look for the season sweep over the Detroit Pistons, Dwayne Casey's Detroit Pistons, who are terrible. And as for our Leafs, as we talked about, their next contest is on Thursday night at Scotiabank Arena, 7 o'clock puck drop. The Leafs host the Predators. Pekka Rinne, Frederik Andersen, the expected goaltenders in that game. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys then.